Welcome back. So, in the previous sessions we have seen the relation between water and soil, then also with the plant. So, the relationship which is been facilitated by soil and that we call as the water relations. So, in water relations the entry of water into the plant is given more important. So, there in our discussions we are concentrating more on the three important physiological phenomena which we call as osmosis, imbibition and diffusion. So, in the previous one we have discussed in detail how osmosis occurs and what is its definition and what is that process called. Now, let us discuss the second phenomena known as the imbibition. So, this is a simple thing, and if many of you have noticed during rainy season that when doors get jammed, especially during June, July time when there is sufficient rain, or the windows are too tight to be open or closed during that session. So, this is a reflection of imbibition. When I say, oh, it is that, you will be feeling or you will be thinking. Again, you can see the same phenomena with the pulses which are being put in water by your mother for cooking, it gets swelled. And a third example, very good example which we can come across is the case of gum arabic. So, if gum is to be made on older days when gum arabic was alone available, or that was the main process involved with the post office and all, they put that solid gum arabic in the water, and that process of putting water and the physiological process associated with that make that swelling, and finally it has become fine glue. So, all the three processes mentioned here, there is involvement of a process, physiological process we call as imbibition. So, imbibition is a process, physiological phenomenon exhibited by hydrophilic colloids. So, the colloids are naturally hydrophilic in nature. As we know, hydrophilic are all compounds which are very water loving. So, hydrophobic, another situation where water hating surfaces or water hating compounds are there. So, hydrophilic colloids. So, colloids have n number of properties which are very unique and which facilitate absorption process. So, here we will be discussing about this one property where hydrophilic colloids tend to keep water molecule on its surface. So, keeping H2O molecules on the surface of colloid. So, colloidal particles keep water molecules on its surface, and keeping water molecule on the surface make it swell. So, colloidal substances are substances which are generally hydrophilic in nature. They tend to keep water molecules on its surface with establishing a very close contact. They never absorb, rather they, so two terms, one which is very familiar, the absorption process. Now, the term adsorb, the second term. So, both are almost same when we hear it, but both are having different absorption or rather properties. So, the adsorption is a process where molecules are held tightly with the surface. So, any adsorbent. So, adsorbent is a molecule or a compound which show the property of adsorption. They never absorb. So, adsorption is a process where molecules are held on the surface. So, they are held, they keep water molecules, they held water molecules on the surface by establishing a very close contact. So, closer the contact, that is been held so tightly, so it cannot be detached. So, that holding together or holding closer of surfaces, that surfaces are generally colloids. So, in the case of cells, wood, etc., the cellulose cell wall, they are colloidal in nature. So, that colloidal property make them adsorb and they retain water on its surface, and keeping water on its surface will make that surface swell, and that process is called adsorption, and that is the ultimate result how imbibition occurs. So, the second phenomena, imbibition, is associated with hydrophilic colloids. So, in the case of a cell, the cell wall is of colloidal nature. So, that is the point where imbibition will be influenced in the absorption process. Then they adsorb water, they never absorb or they never allow water to move across in the process of imbibition. They held it closely on the surface. So, keeping or holding it closely on its surface by establishing a very closer contact make that surface swell. So, that is the reason why the doors are swelled and they become tight during the monsoon season. The windows are tight, the pulses when put in water get swelled, gum arabic is swelled. So, this phenomena of imbibition has a crucial role when water molecules are absorbed at the very initial point, that is in the root hair zone. So, root hair, the cell wall is the primary barrier, followed by a second barrier, that is cell membrane. So, initial barrier has to be crossed by the process of imbibition, and the second barrier, the cell membrane, will be crossed by the process of osmosis, and this process, two processes, that is imbibition first, second one it is followed by osmosis, they together facilitate the entry of water molecule into the first cell. So, the remaining of the thing we will be discussing in the next session. Thank you. Good day.